And so how did you get to become the chair of this conference?
Well, I've been involved in the conference in one way or another since about 1992. After I got my PhD, this was the best conference, the most professional one of our venue, and the biggest. And so after trying various roles and chairing other conferences that are very related, I think they thought I was ready. I had enough knowledge, historical knowledge, and enough concept of what it takes to run this whole thing that I could actually do it myself. So, but again, I had a co-chair this year, which helped a lot. So.
Tell me, how have you seen the evolution of the conference, and what do you see different this year?
I see that it's becoming more and more diverse in terms of the number of disciplines that attend the conference. So it used to be a great place where computer scientists and social scientists showed up. And nowadays it's, you know, the social scientists are not just psychologists, but anthropologists, sociologists, ethnographers. You get all kinds of social scientists, but also many more designers. I think this year we really reached out to designers. We've been trying to do that for many years, so it's gotten better and better. And this year it seems we, you know, there's probably the highest attendance of designers in a long, long time. And I'm hoping the trend just keeps increasing because that's wonderful.
Is that reflecting the way the discipline is changing?
Yes, very much so. In addition to, as I say, our efforts to reach out to the design community because we know we need them so much. And we also see that the design process gets so much better if designers and social scientists and ethnographers are involved with computer scientists from the very beginning of the conception of a piece of software or hardware. And so they're very, very needed in our community and very well integrated into our process of designing software, the best processes, I think.
Now, being from a company like Microsoft, do you think, I mean, is there a relationship between you being a company executive for Microsoft and having a role in the conference? Or would you have this role if you worked for another company?
Possibly. I have had similar roles working for other companies. But it has to be a company that really supports you giving professional service back to the community. And Microsoft, luckily, has been a huge supporter of this conference. We are a hero sponsor. And the number of people from Microsoft Research and Microsoft Product that have been involved in a volunteer basis at this conference is huge. But it's because we see the conference and this community being so valuable. We learn so much coming to this conference. We share our research with the entire community. So it's great that Microsoft supports this kind of giving and support for a conference like this.
And do you know Bill Gates?
I've been in the same room with him. I've presented to him before.
Me too, believe it or not.
Fantastic.
It was a breakfast in London. It was like, and somebody told me that's Bill Gates, and they said, what? It was a school of management or something, and it was totally unannounced. It was like a private thing. Now, so me too. No, but now there is. I'm an open source advocate, and I find open source software not usable at all, or very hard usable. I mean, I don't necessarily prefer commercial products to open source ones, but I find them more usable. Is there anything that we as a conference members and attendees, irrespective of our industry position or interests, we can do to improve the usability of open source software?
Oh, sure. And as you know, Microsoft has open source initiatives as well, so it's not like I'm on one side or the other. And I think that over the years, many open source designers and usability professionals have actually come to CHI, and they've actually done workshops and tried to get the open source community to discuss a better design process and how it might be made more usable. So there have been lots of movements for user interfaces on top of open source that are more similar to things you and I are used to in commercial products. So interestingly, this year there isn't a lot around open source, so I don't know what that means in terms of trends, but there has been in the past. And I think, you know, everything we talk about at this conference the open source community could certainly learn from in terms of an iterative user-centered design.
Do you see the possibility of a track in the future for open source usability?
There has been. It all depends on that community, if they want to get involved, and again,
do you think
they're volunteer.
I mean, I wonder if there might be some barriers. Open source is generally NGOs or people who do open source without funding. Mm-hmm. Would it be too expensive for them to take part in a conference?
No, well, look at IBM. I mean, huge supporter of open source. There are many big companies that could, participate.
Right, sponsors. Yeah. So we're going to have to work on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was going to ask you this question offline, but may as well. One of the sectors that I'm involved in is ontology engineering. And I am interested in seeing a converger to research and study the overlap between ontology engineering and usability engineering.
You'll have to explain to me, pardon me, what ontology engineering is.
No worries.
I do not know.
Okay, then I'll have to see you there.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. You have questions?
Yeah, I want to know your opinion about the evolution of this kind of professional activity, and how is it changing their role in the development process in companies like yours, or in general in the industry?
Well, everything we learn from each other at this conference, we all take back home and we try to put it into practice, obviously. What I like to learn about when I come here, because I'm in North America and surrounded by people like me, I like to learn from places like Korea and Japan, India, China, and the mobile, phenomenon, and what they're doing in terms of how they're using their devices, what they're using their devices for, and what problems they might have in that process. So I can go back and think about, okay, when we do research on mobile devices, what problems should we be solving in our research to help, that emerging market, for instance, or are there opportunities in terms of applications that we can take back? But also to study, how would we study people using these phones? In what situations do we see them? How do you take that back into the design process? So a lot of what we're learning now is how to study, how to design systems in situ, which by that we mean in the real user's context as they actually work with their devices. It's very difficult to study a mobile user while they're mobile, So we have to
move with them.
We have to move with them, and there are many, many instances like that now that we're learning about, where you can't just study something in a laboratory anymore. You have to learn methods for studying how users use things in the field, or even in just their daily lives, in their homes. So a lot of what I learn when I come to the conference is how you study people in the real world, using software and hardware. And there's a lot in the conference this year about how you do that, so methods for that kind of participatory design, if you will.